Welcome back to Sunrise Daily, and that's where we're keeping our focus. Electricity, and of course, it's always a buzz when we talk about that. But to help us understand what the regulator, the National Electricity Regulatory Commission, is doing, we have joining us on Sunrise Daily, James Momo. He's the chairman of the NERC. Thank you so much indeed for coming on the show this morning.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
And welcome from your journey abroad, where you see better electricity. How have you succeeded so far to the mandate given to you in 2005 to ensure that electricity is balanced and tariffs are balanced to favor both the consumer and also the licensees?
Very good. Thank you for the question. The electricity market is about what you just said: generating power, transmitting power, and distributing it to customers at a cost. And that cost is bounded by the supplier, and of course it's paid for by the customer. So you need to balance these two. We want to ensure that the customer get power that is affordable and is accessible to them, and of course it's reliable at all times. And these reliability, affordability issues, that means making it available at all times, is also paid for by the supplier. In this case, in Nigerian situation, or anywhere in the world, is done through this supply chain that we've just, the value chain of supplying power, at the end of the day, through the distribution companies. Yes, this reliability is assured only if, of course, you're able to provide all the necessary ingredients to make power available. So that means you have to ensure that you maintain your network. You have to make sure that you provide all the necessary support mechanism or technology that will enhance the performance of the system. And at the same time, the human factor must be in place, that is properly trained, that is properly equipped, and also manage the system or maintain it at all times. Power engineering, as we have always said, the energy supply chain should be treated like human. Human has face, human has ears, human can think. So therefore, you must nurture it and make sure that it's taken care of at all times. To do this, of course, is the reason why we at NERC enforces rules and regulations to ensure that the power that you receive is of high quality, and that at the same time that is available to all customers. It is our intention, it is our motto, our mantra, that it is our goal to support the infrastructure and to encourage the standards that make sure that this power, this energy that is being delivered is of premium value, so that it can be available to all customers, whether you're rich or whether you're poor, whether in the neighbor. Of course, what I'm basically saying is that at all levels, this power must be available at all times. This is not trivial. This is not simple, especially in a growing economy like Nigeria, because we now have to provide all the necessary support to make this happen. Thanks to the government of Nigeria, the president of Nigeria, President Muhammad Buhari, who has done a lot to make a big change in Nigeria. Whereas in a few countries like in Africa, they envy Nigeria in terms of the quality of service.
Yes,
Only reason is because money is now being invested in the sector. Of course, you know the sector of power is the one that supports all other sectors.
Yes, we'll come to that. We'll come to that investment part of it. But how successful has the recovery plan, the power sector recovery plan, been to this time?
Well, that is the recovery plan has come in many phases. Okay, there are situations where the government has put a lot of support to ensure that at least even the money needed to pay to encourage the generating side of the equation has been supported by the government through President Buhari. Of course, even at the transmission level, you have seen a lot of work that is ongoing through a lot of transmission network development through TCN. And of course, at the distribution end of things, there's a lot of support too that government has provided. And overall, at NERC, we have the ultimate responsibility that this money or this investment, this support, either through loan or complete contribution by the government, is being supervised to ensure that that money is being put to full utilization. So the recovery plan comes in different forms in terms of governance, to make sure there's appropriate governance in terms of managing and corporate governance of the DISCO, corporate governance even of the TCN, and so on and so forth. And at the end of the day, that we at NERC also provide necessary enforcement and compliance in support of making sure that the standards of electricity is kept, the quality of service is maintained. So I think you put all this together, the different supply chain, everybody is doing their part, whether it's the GENCOs, whether it's the distribution side of things, or the Regulatory Commission and TCN, that is the Transmission Services of Nigeria, Company of Nigeria. So it is in this regard that we need to sustain the recovery. We need to make sure it's sustained. It's not just a one-time event. So we are looking at big picture of what do we do going forward to ensure that the power sector, the services or all the service requirement to make sure the power sector in Nigeria is of high quality. That at the minimum is what I can say to you right away.
But you are also mandated to have some phased recovery review mechanism in place, which should happen after every 6 months.
Yeah.
But that hasn't happened, has it?
Okay.
Why?
Which we call it minor review. We have the major review and minor review. The major review is done every 5 years, just like you said. The minor review is done not only every 6 months, actually every year. We are trying to complete the minor review for the last 1 or 2 years. We just came in last year, don't forget. So the minor review is in progress. And the minor review will allow us to be able to determine the tariff increase, because if you don't have idea about number of customers out there, the enumeration issue, we are doing that. If we don't have meters out there, it's hard to determine how many, actually the cost of electricity in homes. You need to have the GDP, you need to have efficiency issue, you need to make sure all these relations, all these parameters are in place so that you can determine, okay, to what extent and how much you want to increase the tariff.
Do you have those parameters in place now?
This is what we are doing now. All the discos are required to complete their enumeration in terms of number of customers that is out there that they currently serve. And they have until March 31st to get it done. Also, the issue of meters is critical. In fact, we just finished a workshop recently where we demanded, I asked, that all these discos, on behalf of the Commission, they have to have the meters, MAP, which is the meter asset provider, engaged to provide a metering gap that we currently have in the country. So that is also going. And as of today, for example, we have more than 100, over 118 no objection applications of customers in Nigeria, Nigerians, who want to provide meters, install meters, and maintain meters.
Who want to? We've not gotten to that point whereby we can categorically say that we have addressed that issue of metering to such a point that we can readily have them in our homes. Because you have a backlog of thereabouts, say, 700 million meters to provide.
Yeah. Well, there was instead nothing was done. NERC came in recognizing the challenge of why we have that gap. We had that gap because it became too expensive for the discos to carry that burden of providing the meters to every Nigerian. We need one. So what did we do? Through the ingenious thinking of NERC, NERC, we now propose a new market, a regulation. We started with a regulation. That regulation is to allow us to have what is called meter asset provider. As I said, it is the one where Nigerians can now, who have money, can now invest, diversify investment in the disco business to provide services of providing meters. And that means we started that, and we've been receiving a lot of positive response. Like I said, over 118 people so far had volunteered or had asked to be provider of these meters. And by this starting, very, very soon, of course, the ongoing right now is a letter of interest has been put out there by discos who want to at least partner with the people, the customers, or our customers who want to do or who want to supply meters and install meters. So I believe that by the early part of the year, by the first quarter of the year, meter rollout will start taking place. That will allow us to start closing the gap that currently exists. And I think we have an idea that by 2020, all Nigerian customers who want to have power paid for as customer, not just want to use power at no cost, will have access to meters in their home. So I think the timing is right. So the time we've lost, we're catching up now.